We want to welcome everybody to our 243rd celebration of the Marine Corps birthday and also our Veterans Assembly. Today, all of you are honorary Marine cadets, except for the few Army and Navy folks and Air Force we have in the veterans that we have in the audience. You stay just who you are. Thank you for being here today. We're going to get right into it. If everybody would please stand. That's it. Huh. Freeze it. Huh. Forward. Start. Left. 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 Right. Along. Hold. Present. Help. You may be seated. Thank you. And now we will celebrate the 243rd birthday of the Marine Corps with a cake cutting ceremony. Students, that's it. March on the cake. Please stand. Okay. All right. Correct. As part of the Marine Corps cake cutting ceremony, you may be seated. As part of the cake cutting ceremony, and if I forget to tell you, since you guys are all honorary cadets, Marine cadets today, anytime the Marine Corps hymn is played, you come to attention, just in case I forget. Okay? During the cake cutting ceremony, we will cut one piece of cake and we will offer it to our guest of honor today, who is Lieutenant Colonel Brian Cornelius. Sir, change your camera. He will take a bite of the cake and then pass it on to our oldest cadet, who is Cadet Zachary Chester. Chester will then take a bite of the cake, and then you wait till I finish. You can applaud Chester then really, really, really well. And then Chester will take a bite of the piece of cake and then pass it on to our youngest cadet, who is Cadet Dayton Blue. That symbolizes a passing on of tradition from one generation to another, which is very important to the Marine Corps. Since the beginning of the Marine Corps in 1775, every class or every generation of Marines has strived to be better than those that came before them. And hopefully we can pass that on to you all today, that you be better than the generation that came before you as you observe our cake cutting ceremony.
Are you good?
And 43 years of glorious service. Can everybody say hoorah? You guys excited on that? Battalion, 10. March off the cake. Please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Battalion, stand at ease. All right, this part of the cake cutting ceremony is a very solemn one. If we could have our spotlight on the POW-MIA table. Over to my left, you will notice the tablecloth, black tablecloth with the letters POW and MIA on the front. That stands for Prisoners of War and Missing in Action. And anytime Marines, soldiers, sailors, and airmen around the globe pause to celebrate anything, at the end of that celebration, they remember those that have not returned from battle or who were prisoners of war during a battle. The table before you, let's go ahead and light the candle, Cadet Loudermilk. The table before you is a place of honor. It is set for one The table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession of arms are missing from our midst today. They are commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. They are unable to be with us at this time, and so we remember them. On the table is set for one is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his oppressors. The tablecloth symbolizes the purity of our intention to respond to their intention to respond to their country's call. The single red rose displayed in the vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep the faith, awaiting them in their return. The red ribbon is so prominently on the vase to reminiscent of the red ribbons worn upon the lapel and breasts of thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our missing. The candle, it is lit, symbolizing the upward reach of our unquenchable spirit. A slice of lemon is on the plate to remind us of their bitter fate. There is salt upon the plate, symbolizing the family's tears as they wait. The glass is inverted, they cannot toast with us. And the chair is empty. They are not here. All of you who served with them and call them comrades, who depend on their might and their aid and rely upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Remember, until the day they come home, remember. Please stand. Tag, Alexander, present arms. Today we will have taps played by Sapulpa High School senior Dylan Wilson. Please salute. Be seated. Battalion. Order. Halt. Stand at ease. Thank you, Dylan, so much. Thank you. And thank you, Miss Myers. You guys are fantastic. In fact, we are ready for you again. That concludes our cake cutting ceremony. And to introduce our Veterans Assembly and the portion of today, we have Miss Myers and her group of fantastic choir members that are going to sing for us, America the Beautiful.
For
Thank you, choir. Yes. Please stand. Give them a hand. Thank you, choir. Beautiful, beautiful. You may be seated. Okay. It is my privilege today to introduce one of my best friends. As soon as I can find his bio. Lieutenant Colonel Brian Cornelius. Our theme for today is the Iwo Jima battle, World War II, in the Pacific Ocean against the Japanese. The Colonel is going to talk about the significance of the battle and why it is important to us today. Hopefully all of us realize what a great privilege we have to be in the United States of America. The privilege we have to sit here. The privilege we have because we are part of the most generous country in the world. We are part of the most kind. But at the same time, we are the most powerful country in the world. But we don't use that power for evil. We use it because wherever that flag goes, people know that they're either going to be completely protected by it or they're going to be our worst enemy, one or the other. We're so thankful, and hopefully you're grateful and thankful to be an American today. Lieutenant Colonel Brian Cornelius was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma on November 1st, 1974, and graduated from Sapulpa High School in 1993. He went on to earn his bachelor's degree in 1997 from the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma, where he was in a Marine program called the Marine Platoon Leaders Program. He was commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps and assigned to the Platoon Leaders Class Law Program. In 2000, First Lieutenant Cornelius graduated from Tulsa University Law School and was assigned as an active duty judge advocate with the Marine Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Cornelius has served with the Marine Corps units from California to Washington, D.C. He has also been deployed numerous times to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where he served with various commands to investigate acts of international terrorism. In 2009, Lieutenant Colonel Cornelius joined the anti-tank training company in Broken Arrow as the executive officer, and then in 2013 became the commanding officer. Since then, he has been reassigned to ever-increasing positions of responsibility, to include his present assignment as the Future Operations Plans Amphibious Officer with United States Special Operations Command Central Special Operations at MacDill Air Force Base, Tampa, Florida. Colonel Cornelius. Give him a hand, folks. Thank you so much for being here today.
Good morning. Come on, we can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's kick this thing off. Hey, let me begin by offering a special word of appreciation to Superintendent Mr. Robert Armstrong, Assistant Superintendent Johnny Bilby, High School Principal Seth Shibley, Sapulpa High School Junior ROTC Major Swepston, Master Sergeant Kitchen, counselors, teachers, family members, friends, and most importantly, veterans and their family members. I am honored to be able to speak at your Veterans Day Assembly and participate in the Marine Corps cake cutting ceremony. In celebrating this day, we honor the guiding principles of the founding fathers of this nation. We look to the past and contemplate the courage of the relative few who decided that they had there had become a day on which America took its destiny back and declared that we were a nation ready to govern ourselves. Amongst their achievement is our freedom. We also need to use this occasion to honor and remember all veterans who have served this nation both in war and peace. But what is a veteran? They are men and women who served in the armed forces who answered the call to defend our freedom. A veteran has suffered the hardship. Veterans are men and women who have had to say goodbye to their families and friends, knowing it may be their last time. They left American soil, some to never return. They stood their ground in fighting holes, cold, frostbitten, or even frozen to death, all because they refused to yield an inch of ground to tyranny. Why did they do that? They knew that if they let the line of freedom slip back, it would erode until it wasn't there anymore. Our armed forces are still out there fighting. There are still places in the world where only a thin line of American troops separates people from torture, dictatorship, and bondage. They've done it so their families and friends wouldn't have to endure the same suffering and danger that they had to face. Since World War I, more than 1 million veterans have been wounded while serving our great nation. Many continue to receive treatment for battlefield injuries and mental trauma that they suffered decades ago, and battles few of us can remember, and they can never forget. Our nation rose to greatness on the strength of their service, and their stories are woven into the fabric of our nation's history. Because of their sacrifices, we are free to live, to work, and to raise our families as we please. There are now about 20 million living veterans. Each day, about 372 World War II veterans pass away, and only about 620,000 of the 16 million World War II veterans are still alive. We owe them an incredible debt. That generation passed the light of liberty to the next generation through countless acts of courage and bravery. Each believes in the mission and those certain character traits which are determination, persistence, willingness to sacrifice, and possessing an iron will and devotion to duty. America's history is replete with tales of heroism, sacrifice, and devotion to duty. And most of them involve people who were in the military. Time does not allow us to recount every story from every war, although each should be preserved and handed down to our children and grandchildren, for they are the fabric for which this great tapestry we call America has been woven. 73 years ago, over 400 Navy ships gathered off a tiny island in the Pacific, known as Iwo Jima. The island was made of ash and housed an extinct volcano known as Mount Suribachi. At 7 in the morning, an order came down for thousands of Marines and sailors to begin the invasion of Iwo Jima. The objective was to seize the island and capture the 3 airfields which were contained upon it. Although the island was shelled with naval gunfire for days, young Marines boarded Amtraks, basically a motorized steel bathtub, which helped them get slowly to shore. At the time, it was unknown that the enemy was entrenched into deep tunnels throughout the island. Young Marines, young Americans, who were once football players, baseball players, soccer players, band members, members of an honor society, or great students who worked every day after school, met an onslaught of voluminous enemy firepower. The Marines' valor and action under enemy fire were nothing short of heroic, and ultimately led to the flag raising at Mount Suribachi, which to my left here on the big screen you can see a depiction of. This moment in history was captured in an iconic photograph which quickly became forever ingrained in America's history. The Marine Corps Memorial in Washington, D.C. captured this photo in the statue, here to my left, with the following words inscribed below: "Uncommon valor was a common virtue." Today, our servicemen, men and women, continue the tough duty that freedom requires. We are writing history again as we contribute to the global war on terrorism and the need to secure our homeland from those whose hatred burns against us. I can assure you today, America finds her soldiers and veterans vigilant, resolute, united, and committed to the defense of the homeland and our fellow countrymen. Many of our veterans can't speak anymore. They died in foreign fields. But what would they say to you here today if they could be? They would be proud of what I see before me. They would tell you, go for it. Be all that you can be. They would tell you the choices you make today will affect your future and the future of those around you. Do not dwell on your mistakes. Use your experiences as an athlete, band member, cheerleader, or any other hobby or inspiration that you desire to inspire and enhance the lives and community around you. Be true to your school, family, and your country. Be true to your faith. As a husband and father, I want to personally thank my wife, Wendy, and my 4 boys who are here today for your love and support. One of my sons, Connor Cornelius, is a student here at Sapulpa High School. Boys, I want you to know how much I love you, and thank you for your support over the years. Connor, thank you for routinely serving as the man of the house during my absence with deployments. Alex, Cooper, and Jacob, I also love you very much and wanted you boys to know that I live to hear you scream, "Daddy's home," when I walk through the door. To the education system, administrators, and counselors, I want to thank you for your continued support of our nation's veterans and for your countless hours of dedication that you donate raising our future leaders of this great nation. In closing, would all the veterans or family members of veterans please stand and be recognized? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. God bless America and our veterans.
Oh, thank you so much, Colonel.
What did you do with your papers?
There. Thank you, sir. He didn't make the mistake I did. All right, we have a special photograph for you today. It was given to me by Mr. Dixon, principal of the junior high school. During the same war, World War II, in the Philippines, and you probably have, everybody should have heard about it. If you haven't, you need to look it up on your Chromebook. It was called the Bataan Death March, and it was a cruel, inhumane march of American soldiers and also some British and others that were captured behind enemy lines in the Philippines by the Japanese. And they were made to march several hundred miles, dying along the way or killed at the hands of the Japanese. The ones who did not die were put in a prison camp. And these brave soldiers that you see in this picture here were part of the Army Rangers, hand-picked 121 of these gents to march 30 miles behind enemy lines to set those prisoners of war free. One of the unique parts about this picture is the tall gent that is third from the right side of the picture. That is Mr. Dixon's uncle, Sergeant Virgil Dixon. He was part of the Great Raid to free those, the book was written about those prisoners of war. It was called Ghost Soldiers. If you want to read more about this battle and also about these brave soldiers that were handpicked to free them, the book is called Ghost Soldiers, and there was also a movie made called The Great Raid. Give these young Army Rangers a hand today. Mr. Dixon said that his uncle passed away a few years ago. We would have loved to have had him here, and any of the veterans from any of the wars. But this was a unique picture, and I wanted to honor him by showing it to you. All right, this next video that we're about to see was attributed to Memorial Day. I want to tell you that it is a tough video to watch, but I want you to see it because I want to show you that war is real. The family members that Colonel Cornelius talked about leaving behind are real. The sorrow, anguish, heartbreak. But these young men and women continue to serve our country and hopefully fight the battles on the other side of the ocean, not here in the United States. That's why we do what we do, is to protect our families and friends and you that are back here. Please watch this with me, and again, it is very tough, but it's very true. very tough to watch, but very important to watch, because that's real stuff. We want to thank you for being here today and for everything that you do every day to help one another. When I see cadets and kids, and athletes helping one another, lifting up the one that is weaker, my heart swells with pride. I am proud to be a chieftain. I am proud to be here in support. And I'm proud to be an American. And you are the reason why we do what we do. If everybody would, if we can turn the lights up in the auditorium. We're going to end the assembly this morning on an up note. We're going to celebrate the services. If you know of someone who is in the Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marine Corps, when their song is played and when it comes up on the screen there, I want you to stand, and I want everybody else to clap for those sailors, and everybody else to clap for those soldiers and airmen and Marines, because they're doing it for us. And if you have a family member that is in that service, you stand when their song is played, okay? Go ahead. You may be seated. You may be seated. On behalf of the cadets of Sapulpa High School, Marine Corps Junior ROTC, go ahead and give them a hand. They've been standing up here faithfully the whole time. If you don't think it's hard to stand in one place for almost an hour now, try it sometime. Come down to my office. I'll take care of you. I'm so proud of our cadets and their fortitude and putting up with me every day. But I also have another cohort, another partner now. Master Sergeant Williams retired last June, and now I have a new Master Sergeant. This is Master Sergeant Kitchens. Would you come out, please? Give him a hand. Yes. There. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Shibley, for allowing us to do this for you every year. And for all of my friends, they come every year. I think it's just to see me. That's what keeps me doing it. But that concludes our part of the assembly today. But we do have one other special thing. So if Colonel, if you would come up, please, Mr. Shibley.
As a small token of our appreciation for you taking the time to come and address our assembly today and be here as our honored guest, we would like to present you with this plaque in appreciation. And everybody give him a thank you. You may be seated. Thank you guys so much. Yes, thank you for being here once again. This is one of our most beneficial and reverent assemblies that we have. Major does such a great job in Master Sergeant Kitchen this year. Mrs. Myers, thank you so much. Lindsay back with IT, all the teachers, everybody and kids. You guys acted so good today. You participated. I thank you so much for that. I think Major Sweston said it the best. He's proud to be a chieftain. I'm very proud to be your principal. You guys did great today. One thing I do want to kind of piggyback on, you heard the word service over and over today. Some of you guys may choose to go to the service after high school, but whatever you do to the military, one of the military branches, but whatever you do, whether it's one of the military branches that you choose to serve in, serve somewhere. Serve your community, serve your church, serve your neighborhood, but choose somewhere to serve. That's what's going to make our community, our school, and our country better, is when we think of other people ahead of ourselves. So, we don't want you just to learn your math, your science, your social studies here. We want you to learn how to serve, get involved in your community and your school. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your attentiveness. As you go throughout your day, please reflect on what Veterans Day means. Veterans Day is actually November the 11th. Look it up, do a little research. I know some of your teachers are talking about it too. Find a veteran, thank a veteran, and remember you live in the greatest country in the world. So.
To the leave when you get here. You're here. Or to left the phone in the